Hello, everybody, and welcome to the GSL Upper Division here today. I am Dr. Shrew, and joining me it's going to be Matlock with Cabbage on production. And we got a pretty impactful matchup coming your way here between the Big C and Dave's down there in the losers bracket. Because you can see whatever team wins this one gets to take on Goostra for a chance to get into the finals. As we get ready to head into this one here, Matlock, how you feeling going into it?
I'm looking forward to the set. We're in the losers bracket, so if you lose here, you lose for good. So a huge, well, not a huge amount of pressure, but a lot of pressure being put on these players right here. I'm looking forward to see sort of the distance this goes because there's been a pattern forming between these two teams throughout the bracket. The Big C have been playing exclusively in 2-0 sets, whereas the Daves have been playing exclusively in the 2-1 sets. So I'm keen to see if those patterns continue or if we'll finally see a break there.
Yeah, definitely going to be interesting because both, these teams are going to want to make it to go up against Goostra because, lots of gem prizing in these final, bits of playoffs. And there's a lot to play for here, not to mention just the pride for it. So definitely looking forward to see what both of these teams bring into this match.
Indeed, we do. And if the winner of this will go on to play Goostra, and the winner of that Goostra set will be going on to the grand finals of the bracket. So not far away from the final victory line. It's within reach. We're on the home stretch right now. So yeah, we are. This game is on the new patch. I should state now, it's still early days, so I don't really know what the meta has formed yet. There are four gods comp banned at the moment: Marty Chorus, Baba Yaga, Set, and Karen. So, and because of those bans, it's going to be interesting to see what slides its way into the picks and bans now, because those are like the top four, excluding Set, like those are the top three picks and bans we've been seeing a lot recently.
Yeah, definitely going to change things up. And already I see bands coming through, kind of a shifting away from what I'm at least used to seeing here. I mean, the Sun Wukong makes sense taken away first by Big C, but Don Zabura and Heimdall both banned away in the first phase here to pair up with the Thor that the Daves also take away. Why do you think we're seeing Donza and Heim getting focused so early in picks and bans here?
Because Marty Chorus is not available, and I think after Marty Chorus, the tier of hunters that are below Marty Chorus, I think, is a very large god pool. I don't think there's a lot distinguishing like good hunters from bad hunters at the moment. And also Natsuvella's Crusher buff as well, and so I think the more not
Mm.
full ability hunters, but the more ability orientated ones, such as the Danza and the Heim, should get better value from this Crusher pick now. Should they be going for it? I still don't know. I personally am still a fan of the Dom. I think that's still better, but these people have clearly sort of been cooking in the kitchen and have might be looking to experiment maybe with his Crusher.
Yeah, that definitely could be. That's a good point. I forgot about the Crusher buff and what that might change up. And I'm excited to see what they go for. Ganesh is banned away by Dave's, as well as the Freya taken off the board by the Big C, who are now taking their time here to figure out what they want to go first overall. There's a lot on the board still after these first, kind of set of bans. There's a lot of solo laners that have been impactful, open and available. The Ravana comes to mind, the Jormungandr comes to mind. We've seen prioritization towards things like the Xbalanque in the long lane. What do you think the Big C are gonna pick up here? As I ask you, and they lock in none of what I said. It's the Ratatosker instead. Let me rephrase the question. How do you feel about the Ratatosker that the Big C pick up here first overall?
Ratatoska is one of my favorite gods in general. I think he has such a good kit. I'm keen to see where he goes. I don't think we're going to be seeing that support. That's like the least viable option there. So
Yeah.
jungle and solo are on the board. And with the way that the solo lane is at the moment, it could very well be a Rat solo. I wouldn't mind that. I think the ult offers a lot of global rotation opportunities. But like I said, the meta at the moment, the solo meta after this patch is weird to me because some of the AA stuff was buffed, and then I think there's there's the idea that magical solos are pretty good now. So I'm looking forward to seeing where this rat goes. But I like it. I think considering what is available, I think it's good. And I also like this Terra pick a lot. Terra is always one of the top supports. Hatsuman's still up there with one of the top hunters at the moment, so I think Dave's has picked up a better first pick here with their first two right now.
Yeah, very strong lock-in for that Chaos side team, solidifying their dual lane early here in the draft. And I think I agree with what you were saying about the Ratatosker. It brings, it can bring a lot depending on which role it is in, and it allows them that flexibility. Daves doesn't know where this pick's going either, and it's going to keep them guessing on what they need to ban away. It's the X-Wall and the Ymir locked in for the big C. I, for one, love seeing a Ymir lock in here. How do you feel about the next two picks coming out of Big C right now?
I love both of them. I think X-Ball works very well with Dominance item at the moment. Your autos will absolutely chunk through anyone, so I really like that pick. And Ymir, I like it. I would have preferred to maybe have seen it later because it's going to work. The Ymir wall is going to work wonders versus the Hatsi, his ultimate, the Terror. So it's a good counter pick there. But I would have liked to see if they maybe held onto the card a bit longer and let Dames maybe play more, put forward more gods that would have been hurt by this Ymir. So, but that being said, I do think it should be a good dual lane for Big C. I don't think it will be as good as an early game versus the Hatsi versus Terror, but I think once it gets to the 1v1, it's going to be an interesting lane to watch.
I agree. I feel like they definitely have a lot of scaling with the Ajibalanke and good setup. Ymir's been in the game for a long time. We know how good he is at setup from that support position. And you mentioned wanting to, lock the Ymir in later so there's less of a chance to kind of counterplay it on the other side. Doesn't seem like Dave's cares about that at all. They lock in the Agni, who also will get trapped by that Ymir wall if it's placed well enough. So interesting decision coming out from to finish out the round 3 for Dave's. Not that Agni is a bad pick by any right, but does kind of get countered. His dash gets countered a little bit by that wall.
Yep, indeed it is, but maybe they don't. Maybe they don't respect it. Well, I'm also thinking, and Production might be able to confirm this for me. This is a replay cast, so I don't know if they can see the actual order that picks and bans happened in. If Production confirm nor deny that rumor that I'm thinking at the moment?
I'm almost positive that it goes in the right order. Still
it should be in the right order. If it is in the right order, then it is a bit of a weird pickup by the Davidson. Maybe they are hoping that Terra will just get this shell online early, the Phantom Cell. Meanwhile, coming back with a wall of their own, the Olden sort of arena right there. I think that does well because it's still X-Ball and that. Yeah, so is it? The VAT and X-Ball also can't get over these walls easily, as well as the Ymir, so I think Odin having Dave's bringing some walls of their own does go well here.
Yeah, definitely both sides bringing that wall, and as you mentioned, Odin can trap a little bit more in than other members, and I like immediately that we're seeing the Big C grabbing gods that have leaps and ability to get out of the cage, though Toth does not, so they kind of instantly invalidating the compliment I was trying to give them are the Big C, but they have that Awelish, and there are quite a good Odin counter if nothing else.
There's not a lot of knockups available. I say there's not a lot. There's one knockup available, and that is the Wheelix herself. In terms of leaps, there's the Odin leap, and that is it. So this Odin is going to have a lot to fear for with his life at the moment, I'd say. The fourth pickup, yeah, it's supposed to get out of the walls, but it's a lot easier to get a Phantom Shell pickup into an Odin wall because it's an ultimate, so it's only up every 50 to 60 seconds late game, whereas the Ymir wall is going to be up a whole lot often. So the fourth should still have a good chance of escaping as long as he is nearby the Ymir with Shell when that Odin wall is dropped. Nazar picked up here to end with. I don't mind his pick at all. I think a Wheelix is a good early game god. It's to help you get the ball rolling, and that's going to be needed with a fourth and X-Ball as your carries. Nazar, I wouldn't say it's as early. Naturally, once you get to that level 5, the Fire Wills, that's when the Nazar is going to be coming through and shine. So I'm going to look forward to the ult prioritization from this Nazar. Who is being taken up into the air? Do they want to get the Ymir off the board and then deal with the carries, or do they want to try and, like... I'm keen to see the game plan, is what I'm trying to ramble on about.
Yeah. I mean, and anytime a Naja is locked in, like it is for the Dave squad here, it's all about, you know, that combo, right? It's so easy to follow up off of a Sash or a Windfire Wheels. Naja's been in the game a long time. Everybody knows the timing. So if Agni can combo well with it, it's so hard to play against if you're on the side of the big C. I definitely like what they're bringing with that. And now that we can see the full five though for both of these teams, I gotta ask you here, Matlock, is there a team you kind of felt like got away with a little bit more in the draft, maybe having an upper hand going into game one here?
I don't think any team so clearly gets away with it from the draft. No draft screams out to me as like we're so much better than the others. They both seem pretty even. If I'm to guess and predict which draft will outperform the others, I think if Big C get the ball rolling early, I think they'll just be fine. However, if it goes late game, the Agni and Hatsi damage, I think, will just absolutely obliterate the Big C. So it's gonna be seeing where the pressure is.
Well, there's only one way to find out, and that is to hop into game one properly here between the Big C and Dave's in this upper division clash. And as we hop into the game and take a moment to breathe before buffs spawn here, it gives us a second to kind of dive a little deeper into these comps, because I want your opinion on this Toth. It's not a mid lane we see often at all. Is this something because of the changes in the most recent patch, or do you think this is more just like a pocket pick that Ardun has and is pulling out here?
So I believe Book of Toth was buffed in the recent patch. So I think, like, we've got two artillery mages on the board, Agni and Toth, both big at just wanting to sit behind the supports and do the damage. And book builds are good at doing that. They don't give you a lot of protections, they don't give you a lot of lifesteal, but they are good at short bursts of very high damage. So that gives me an inkling as to what these teams are trying to do. They just want to set up for these artillery mages.
Yeah, that makes sense. If Book of Toth is in a better spot, then might as well pick up the God of the Name. What an acorn stun to make sure that Seagull can make it out on that Ratatosker. Definitely worrisome over there in the solo lane if you're getting pressured out that quickly by an Odin.
Yeah, Odin has picked up a tier 1 breastplate, so I'm not expecting that to kill that Odin anytime soon in this lane. I think that 20 Fizz pots alone, the Acorn does not give you a lot of power this time. The tier 2 Acorn is better for junglers than it is solos. So unless the Wheelix turns up for a gank, I don't think we'll be seeing this Odin falling anytime soon.
It's not stopping both of these solo laners from getting aggressive, but it's Seagull who has to back up and dash away again. Unable to follow up with that stun is the Odin over there, but it seems like they are definitely willing to fight even with low health bars. But in the dual lane, it's an early rotation here from the jungle. Can they find anything? This Ymir could be in a lot of trouble. Good body blocks and the slows. The sash lands, and it is enough. First blood going to Murka on that Hachiman, but things might not be done here as the other jungler, Wheelish, has made the rotation over as well. Good knockup, gets the beads out of the Hachiman, but the sash might be a little bit better. The shell is used to try and save the life of both members, and it looks like it's enough to save the Hachiman, but the blink in from Naja. Now it's Roxa who's in trouble on the Wheelish, but does manage to make it back underneath the tier 1 tower for the time being. Fireworks over in the dual lane results in first blood going the way of Big C.
It was just a good quick rotation from Archie Baker there. Albie was quite not 2-step far up. He was like towards the middle of the lane, so I'm not going to say he's out of position there, but he is caught out alone. The Wheelix comes in, tries to get something else, but a good dash by the Nazar stops any kill confirm happening onto that Hatsi and keeps him alive. So I think good coordination there on that Shas by Archie Baker right there.
Yeah, that was both junglers making their way over towards duo early to set all of that up there, and it ends up working out in Big C's favor. Do you think that the dual lane should be the focus for both of these jungles, or do you want to see them maybe kind of rotate towards the other lanes to apply pressure?
That is a good question. I don't really know. X-Bowl has the death toll, so his sustain is in lane is going to be a lot greater than this Hatsy at the moment. So I'd say Artsy Baker is probably going to have to appear in this lane a lot for any kill press to happen on Peters, but I think Vexer can afford to not prioritize it as much.
Well, it looks like it's a rotation towards the solo lane this time by this Awelish, looking to maybe help out Siegel on this Ratatosker. It doesn't look like OG knows that anybody's nearby, but spot out Awelish now. And will not get caught out by too much of anything, even returning quite a bit of damage to Siegel there. You mentioned, not the most knockups for this Awelish to be able to kind of combo with. Do you feel like it's going to slow down the kind of presence we're going to see out of the jungler from the Big C here, or is Awelish still good enough to be able to get away with it on their own?
That question is dependent on how many frees that man can hit.
True, but he might not be able to freeze anybody. He's dead. That's the second kill of the game going to Murkoff on this Hachiman. Off to a great start. If you're a fan of this Dave squad, definitely applying the pressure in this duel lane.
Yeah, the Hatsu man 2-0 start, 4 minutes in. That X-Ball is going to start fighting for his life. Just to finish off the point I was making, yeah, Wheelix not having a lot of knockups or jumps to combo with is going to hurt the early game potential of this squad, and so it's just going to be how well he can hit his knockup himself, because that is literally half of his setup is going to be. But he needs to hit that very small line ability, so keen to see how that goes.
Well, they're getting aggressive in mid lane, fighting over these harpies. The final judgment is used. Where did the health bar of Mino Kino go? Wheelish will jump in and get credit for that kill. And Big C answer back finally with a kill of their own in mid.
Yeah, the Book of Thoth was completed, built up that damage, and yeah, Agony unfortunately was not going to stand a chance there with that collapse on in the jungle. But now he's back, he's got it himself, he shouldn't fall too far behind in stacks, his red's about to be up, he should ultimately be fine. The gold, I think, and XP at the moment are quite equal. And yeah, so it's unfortunate the kill happened, but I'm sure Big C are very happy that they are winning in at least another one of these lanes.
Yeah, definitely. Duo hasn't been going their way, but if they can kind of claw themselves back with winning the mid lane, it'll even out in the end. We see already though that the support of Dave's has just kind of been making sure that vision is happening all throughout, deep in the jungle of the Big C. Because it's in that left-hand lane, do you feel like that's kind of showing the hand of what Dave's wants to focus on? I might have to hold that thought, though, as Windfire Wheels takes up Ymir. Doesn't do a ton of damage because Ymir is pretty tanky, but what body block to stop him in place? And that could just mean disaster for the support from Big C. Albie will end up falling to the hands of his enemy support, but Peters does turn around. One kill, that's a good kill on the Hachiman as this fight continues. The sash is too much though, and Archie Baker will answer back with a kill of his own. But it's back and forth over here in the dual lane as Raxa gets one as well, ending up with 3-4 the total in kills between these two squads.
Yeah, like you said, that was very back and forth. Naturally, if you're all grouped up, X-Ball is just going to keep on flinging autos into that. That just did a lot of good damage over time. The Wheelix was good at just being able to keep on slithering past that terror, getting to the key targets they wanted to pick up. So yeah, I think that's a good fight from both members there. And it's in terms of who it benefits, not really anyone. If anything, it reinforces the status quo that was happening. So if I was to say who that was to benefit, I'd say it benefits Dave's more. Because it meant the killing spree was shut down before it actually became a killing spree, so no bonus gold will be going to any shutdowns there.
Nice steal on the green buff there by Albie with the help of his mid laner to make sure that that XP goes their direction. But look how far forward this Hachiman is able to play. Murkoff feeling very confident on this pick, even dying the one time, is still 2-1-2, and showing off that he is not afraid of what damage Peters can get out. And looks like a little engage towards Albie won't result in too much, but both these teams seem very okay, scrapping constantly as blue buff is secured. The cage needs to be used though, because there are two members over here, but here comes the Agni. Good stun, but OG is in quite a bit of trouble still. Low health, good stun lands at the same time. Can't jump away from an Awelish though, and gets pulled right back. Another kill going the way of the Awelish onto the Odin there, but Rat has to make it out of this fight. Not enough damage, or not enough commitment of the damage, at least onto Albie, and things will end with just a pick onto OG there.
And yeah, the one person you don't want to be leaping away against is that Awelix, and yeah, just forces that the one person that has a leap is the one person trying to escape from you. So yeah, it works out. Your ultimate is online. Great, use it there. He can't escape. You could tell when he put down that case in the first place, he was aware that he was going to be plucked in. But I think it was just like, if he didn't jump, he was going to die anyway. So it was a Hail Mary attempt.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, not much you can do in that situation if you're an Odin that needs to get out of there, but there's no Wheelish nearby. So kind of trapped was OG on that pick in the moment. Does end up falling for it, but there's a big grouping around the Gold Fury right now by Dave's. I don't know if they're going to actually pull it. It seems like they aren't. They're just rotating towards this left lane. We're only 9 minutes into the game. It would be a little early for the Gold Fury, but I mean, do you want to see like Dave's use this small lead that they have, even if it's, you know, rather minuscule at the moment, to try and push something? Because it seems like they're feeling.
Dave doesn't even have a lead. They doesn't even have a lead. They're like 80 goal behind. I think it's too dead even to do a goal for you right now, unless you were all certain they were doing a large gank somewhere else. Meanwhile, this Odin is very far out of position in between some towers here.
Is tanky enough, but he leaps away again and is immediately pulled back. Learn from your mistakes of the past. OG gets killed once again by the Awelish ultimate. Unfortunate there for OG on the Odin.
Close wall there by Albie, nearly caught out Artie Baker, and that could have potentially turned into another kill there. Yeah, I think Odin was just caught out there, had to go in between the towers, or I think take too much damage from it. And yeah, once again, this Awelix ult is going to be up often for this Odin jump, because no one else is going to be proccing it, really.
Yeah, it is definitely a counter matchup over there. Windfire Wheels was used, but not enough damage to get the kill onto Seagull quite yet. The Terra ultimate was committed as well. But Seagull will be able to walk away for free, except for the Blink Sash does land, spin to win. Not enough damage. Good dash, though, to get out of the Agni bombs. And it's actually a Wheelish who turns around a kill for Big C here as this team fight kind of breaks out in the jungle. That will be a shutdown, a big kill for Minokino there onto Vraxa, who was 5-0-1 before that death.
Yeah, that is a very good shutdown right there for Dave's. That Awelix was having a 2-level lead, especially because Archie Baker is going tanky right now. He needs as much farm as he can get. He needs the Awelix to just be shut down in their prime before the gap becomes too large between them. Beacon is about to be up in 30 seconds, so I'm going to be keen to see who turns up for this. Really, I'd like it if both teams try and actually team fight for it, but I feel like Dave's are going to be one to leave it be, considering Odin. Actually, no, Odin TP is up, so they will be able to rotate in quite well, and the wards are up, so they might actually try and fight this. I'm keen to see.
Yeah, and I mean, this game is still just so even. Nothing really separating these two teams. The beacon does spawn, and Albie's the first on the scene, but he's getting collapsed upon. Gonna need some help in from his teammates. There's a lot of damage, but the final judgment doesn't quite land. It's enough, though, to make them back up. And OG has rotated over using that teleport, as you pointed out earlier, and it's Dave's the one actually on this beacon first. The jump, though, pulled over the wall. Good knock up there to make sure that this Terra is in a world of trouble, but is very tanky. Doesn't manage to make it out. Odin now safe to jump in, drops the cage and does a lot of damage. Can they find a kill though? OG will end up falling as Wheelish finds a double kill for themselves. The beacon goes the way of Dave's, but it's a triple kill for Vraxa there. The beacon might have gone the way of one team, but Big C, they turn around, they win the team fight, and they're going to look towards this Gold Fury.
Like I said, this Wheelix pick was going to be dependent on how many abilities the Wheelix hit successfully. I don't think they've missed yet. So this, like, it's unfortunate that the person they plucked into the gold buff was the support. They did eventually, like, kill him, but I feel like if it was someone else, then it would have been a lot more tumultuous for Dave's right there. But a kill is a kill. It puts down their support, who is quite far ahead of Albi at the moment. But yeah, fantastic play there. Vex are doing a lot right now.
Yeah, definitely doing so much on this Wheelish. 8-1 and 2, just 13 minutes into this game is an incredibly crazy slash line. And I mean, look at what Siegel's got as well. I mean, he's 1-0-6, level 14, matching the farm.
Oh, yeah, but
of the Wheelish.
Yeah, the rotation there, the late rotation for Matt Duskett in there, altered into the backline, just disrupted the day so much so that the kill on Terror could be confirmed because it was taking a while. So good timing there by Siegel as well.
Yeah, they are just a terrifying duo once we have starting to see, you know, these kind of grouped up team fights. On the side of Dave's, who needs to be the one to try and slow down what the two of these are doing?
It's gonna have to be Merc. I think Merc is the only one who's keeping even in his lane at the moment. Odin's still doing fine as well, but because they're going for this second prophetic, which I've not seen for a while, that's probably going to be a while to get stacked up. But yeah, I think Archie Baker is 3 levels behind right now. His Trans is still stacking, has gone for a bit tankiness. I don't think he's going to have a lot of play potential until late game, until he's on par with the Wheelix. Ooh, Big C were able to confirm it, that's good for them.
Very close margins though, but can they get out of this team fight as Earthen Fury is used on the chase for the mid laner here? A blink in from OG to try and find something. Good wall at least slows them down, and Ardun actually gets the first kill of the engagement. Up down from Siegel as well on the Ratatoskr, looking for damage onto the opposing mid laner. There are low health bars on both sides, but guess who's here? It's Rixa on the Wheelish. A good pull in again, and it's another double kill going to the way of the jungler of Big C.
See, I'm a support player, and I've played some comp games as Yamoza into the Wheelix, and it's never fun. And normally you think that only happens to Yamoza because the knock-up is so often. But now, OG is not having a fun time here. He is the only one that is really proccing the Wheelix ultimate. So Daves have to be calling out this Wheelix ult, because OG, I think, can only really go in or go out if that Wheelix ultimate is down. If it is up, he's screwed. So I think communication is going to be vital here for Daves, and a lot of damage on the Voth there.
Yeah, not just tanking up the tower, not respecting at all anything that the enemy support of Popular can do there, but you might need to respect it. The ring toss off the mark by Archie Baker there, and both members of Big C should be able to make it out. We were talking about how close this game was earlier, but all of a sudden, it's around a just under 400 or 4,000 gold lead in favor of Big C. Dave's kind of just fallen behind.
I would point it mostly at, I was saying Wheelix was good early, but Nazar comes into it later on. Unfortunately, Nazar has yet to step through the door yet. Like, the ultimates have been hitting from Archie Baker right now, but compared to the Wheelix, it does not compare yet. 4-level gap at the moment between these junglers. The jungler is on level with their support at the moment, which is not great. But I'm not going to harken him for too much. I'll leave it there. But it's just the fact of the difference at the moment is with these junglers. It is Wheelix is offering a 10-1 and 2 KDA at the moment, whereas the Archie Baker, Nazar, Transcendence is still not stacked, and it was first item. There we go. 17 minutes into the game, it's now stacked. So that should be a nice power spike for him now.
Yeah,
that should do him well now, but it's just I would have expected the Nazar to come online a few levels earlier.
Definitely not what you would have been, you know, planning up if you are Dave's. But the second beacon is already here. I feel like we just finished the fight for the first one, and both of these teams are already contesting it. Both supports just making sure it doesn't go one way or the other. as we wait for the rotations from the rest of the teams to start coming through. Both mid laners getting some good poke damage out, but no real fight happening quite yet. There are groupings though coming from Big C here, and it seems like just their presence alone is enough to go the way of to allow them to get the beacon. Excuse me.
Yeah, I really would have thought Odin would have just teleported in directly over from lane, but he backs. I think he was waiting for his teammates to confirm whether or not they were gonna try and fight for it. But instead he chose to give it up, and I think instead they chose rather. Oh no, Ymir wall! Oh boy!
Lots of damage, and that's the power of Ymir. A sliver of HP for Popular, but they get away from the Ratatosker? No, the Acorns will secure the kill there. And now it's Mino Kino who's in a lot of trouble, and the Agni beats Aegis, not enough to save the life of the Dave's mid laner. And this Big C squad, they're not done yet. They almost catch the back of one, but they'll decide to take this Primal Fury. It's almost a consolation prize after absolutely melting two members of Dave's.
A good wall there by Albi, cuts off the Terror, and a good follow-up with the Ratatosker as well. A great route from the Vaden Parnas out of this fight there, just stops Minakino in their tracks, can't get out. And yeah, Odin did teleport over, but by that point, two members are down. You're not really going to fight 3v5 into this Big C comp at the moment. So instead, they're going to just go back and farm, because even though the KDA line is very different for the solos, they're not that far in like build and XP and gold at the moment. Like, it's not horrendous. Fourth is starting to pull quite a bit away now. Book of Fourth fully stacked with Vidian now online, so once that ult gets sent off, the Glyph Assault is going to be doing a whole lot of damage following that one up. And yeah, the ADCs are still very on par at the moment. I think same builds barring the starters. I think it's going to be. I'm looking forward to see what happens when these ADCs rotate. Because if both of them are to rotate, Big C should still get it with their like high level team comp. But if for whatever reason Peters was to get cut off, picked off one by one, and then it's a 5v4, I think the Hatsi might be enough to make it quite a lot closer of a fight. Ooh, boy.
Needs to get the back up here, and Will just in time. A bit of hesitation coming out of Rixa there, unable to find that what probably would have been a kill had they been caught out there.
I think at best it would have forced the Hatsi ult. I think the Hatsi ult would have got it out fine. No, I think he was recognizing that he didn't want to use his own ult to force out another ult, so I think it's good to hold, but a fight here happening, and it is a 5v4, 5v3 even.
Is indeed Seagull just barely making it up into the sky there with a sliver of HP remaining, which gives more of an advantage to this Dave squad. But around the back is the Wheelish, decides not to go in quite yet, but a lot of damage onto OG there with a good freeze and Toth Poke from a range. Pyromancer though does go the way of Dave, so they claw back some gold in their favor as they'd fallen pretty far behind. But look who's rotated now. Peters is here. The shell used to make sure to get through, they can get through that Ymir wall, and that might just spell the end of it, except for Rixa does not want that.
Trap.
A good ultimate and a good self knockup gets another kill onto Mino Kino there. Now 11-1-3 on this Wheelish. And they're pulling Fire Giant right now in the face of the members of Dave's.
Yeah, I mean, they got the kill. Minakino is their artillery mates. Everyone else on Dave's has to get in. Unfortunately, Artsy Baker caught off and adds another feast to the banquet put forward in front of a Wheelix right now.
Fire Giant very low here. There are members of both teams in the pit trying to be the ones to secure it, but Albi goes into the ultimate. Pops it a little too early though. Arden gets one kill, and Big C do confirm the Fire Giant, but they lose their support on the back end of it. Will they be able to make it out for everybody else? Rixa will get the kill onto OG. Popular will fall to the hands of Seagull. And out of nowhere, it's Mino Kino versus the world, 4 members strong with Fire Giant around their waists for Big C.
It's a delayed deicide. Minakino did spawn in before the deicide was to go through. They lose Albi in the process, and hey, if you're Dave's, getting one FG off of the Big C is still good. Support no longer as tanky, might struggle to siege down these Phoenixes. It's gonna be interesting. Like, Big C have the lead, 10k ahead at the moment. It's not it's not impossible for the Daves to win round. Like, they had a very good pyro fight right there, but it's gonna be about if they can pick someone off. If Big C stay grouped up and they keep this as a proper 5v5 team fight, I think they just go down, run it down, and win it. I think Daves are gonna have to require some ambush tactics right now.
Well, they're the ones who might get ambushed in their own jungle here. The Big C grouping up on this left side, preparing for this Oni Fury, I would imagine, as they look to extend their lead even further with this Fire Giant buff now with them. But it seems like Dave's, they're grouping to defend this Oni Fury against a team with Fire Giant. This could be make or break for them.
It is a 5v3 at the moment. Fourth person has now turned up. I'll be looking at the backline, but it's going to be blinked in by the Odin.
The cage drops and does trap in Peters, who can't quite get out, but he's not the one trapped in with them. He did so much damage, gets taken up into the Windfire Wheels, though. Arden will get one kill, but Archie Baker does find the kill on Shivalonga. Can't jump away from a Wheelish again. Absolutely deleted, and another double kill going the way of Rixa, and Agni in so much trouble. It's a double kill for Arden as well. Merc, the only member of Dave's remaining now, but at least they did get rid of the ADC, which will make it harder for the siege to happen for Big C.
It was a good start to the fight by the Daves, but they got Archie Baker to snag onto the ADC, but unfortunately the ultimate there takes a long time to actually fully go through, and in that time, Rat was able to TP over, get into the ultimate, and get there. And so, yeah, meanwhile, the Relix is able to solo the Oni Fury, but support is going to be here to help out fully. I think the Oni would have maybe gotten the kill there. But yes, I think just a good reinitiation there by Big C. They managed to delay out the fight for as long as possible. Seagill came in and just, I think, turned it around for him. Unfortunately, Odin, I think for the 6th time, for his 6th death, has been pulled back by the Wheelix ultimate. I feel like we're going to be seeing the Wheelix ban next game.
Yeah, it was such a good counter pick coming out of Big C once that Odin got locked in to just grab a Wheelish, because it is just working for them right now. They still have Fire Giant for the next 50 or so seconds. Gonna be looking to take this tier 2, I imagine, but once again, Daves are stepping up. They want to take this fight. They even have a flank here. Jumping in is OG. The Earthen Fury ultimate comes out, but the freeze is very good, and Peters will get the kill onto Popular there. And now the Big C are here in numbers. They are down to take this fight. The Tothal off the mark, but Seagull will be there to make sure the damage is good. Peters gets a double kill, and things are just falling apart for Daves here. The Titan also pushing down this mid lane. It's just going to make it even harder for Daves to defend. It's just Archie Baker and Merc left, and they will not step up to this tier 2 tower, which will cleanly go to the Big C.
Once again, the Odin was plucked back by the Wheelix ultimate. A good thread the needle there with the evade and punish by the Thoth. Traps the Agni so they can't get out. I think just what helped that beautifully was the freeze onto Odin as they jumped in. If the ultimate came through by the Odin, I think that would have been quite a different story. The cell would have had to have been used early. And I think it might have been a bit better for Daves. But yeah, White Phoenix is down now by a combination of Oni Waves and the Wheelix. And yeah, that being said, if your Wheelix is to be killed, that's like plus 260% gold for that kill, for that shutdown. So it would be good for them if they get that kill. Albie getting absolutely shredded. Phoenix does fall down though.
It does indeed. Albie with not a lot of HP left, but still comfortable to take this fight without his squad, and pulled again, killed again. Immortal for the Wheelish. Getting another kill onto the Odin. There was a lot of damage coming out of the final judgment there. And with OG down, it seems like the Big C are confident enough to step towards this throne room, and Archie Baker gets trapped in and deleted. Here comes Seagull in the air. Good knock up, and Vrixa will get another kill. That could just be the game, but Minokino will get the shutdown, and the Titan will fall. Big C go up 1-0 in the set with a clean victory over Daves.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be seeing the Wheelix in Game 2. If we see the Wheelix gets through for Big C again in Game 2, I think, well, I'd question the Dave picks and ban tactics. I think that was just a great gameplay by Big C. The Wheelix, of course, performed brilliantly. The Ymir walls were great. Trapping down that Nazar and left Phoenix at the very end there. I think a good cohesive team play right there by Big C. Dave's, of course, very close early game for the first like 12 minutes, but I think unfortunately just Artsy could not get as online as the well, even if he was still performing on average, I don't think on average would have been enough for how big this Wheelix was getting. So
Yeah.
I think it's just going to be a bit smart. Like I don't even know how Dave's can definitely improve, and I think if they were to improve, I think it would have just been a bit more of a willingness to step out of a fight. I think they kind of engaged in the fight in the early game and were there to stay, whereas later on they eventually realized, okay, we tried, we failed, let's back up. I think if they were a bit more relaxed in the early falls, maybe the later game would have turned out better for them.
Siegel and Arnon both undying in that game as well. We were focused so much on how
I,
much Dia Wheelish was doing, but just great team play as a whole coming out of Big C gets them ahead in this set. We'll have to find out if the trend can continue for Big C, who, as you mentioned, before the game started, have been a part of 2-0 sets the entire way through this bracket, or
mm-hmm.
if Days can pull a win out here and push us to a game 3. Definitely don't want to miss out. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more upper division action here on the GSL in just a few moments. Welcome back, everybody, to this upper division matchup between Dave's and Big C. If you missed game one, Big C got the victory off the back of some insane Wheelish plays coming out from their jungler. I have to imagine here, Matlock, that we do not see Wheelish in game two.
If a Wheelix isn't banned right now by Dave's, I feel like you can let the Wheelix through if you plan on also banning the Ymir and Wall characters and then just not going anyone with leaps. That is a valuable other strategy if Dave's want to do it. Or it depends, or they could just be thinking it got out of hand. It's one of those situations where Vexer just got ahead at 8 minutes and nothing can stop it. It depends how they are choosing to approach that question, whether it was the pick itself or it just got out of hand and they couldn't handle the steamroll. In my opinion, I think better safe than sorry, ban your Wheelix.
Definitely. I'm interested to see how they decide to play it, but for now, bans sticking the way they were in game one. Danza and Ganesh taken away by Dave's, while the Big C make sure that Sun Wukong is not allowed here in game two. It's standard with the Ganesh and Sun Wukong again, but it's the Danza and Heimdall definitely both teams really prioritizing these hunter picks that we haven't really seen for quite a while.
I think it's also banning out comfort picks for Hunter specifically. I think that I don't know a lot about these ADC players. Potentially Pedders is very big on the Danza and Merc is very big on the Heim. So it might just be, we don't know what the meta is at the moment, so let's just ban out what they are known for.
Yeah, definitely.
There's no possibility.
Yeah, comfort picks are very, very viable at all levels of play. I mean, it's a good thing if you are comfortable on it and you can eat a ban like that. It's a great thing to have for your team. And speaking of more targeted bans, they take away the Ratatosker that Seagull went undying on in game one. I gotta say, I definitely like this ban coming out of Dave's here.
But it's not in a Wheelix.
True.
And that's what I'm getting concerned over for Dave's. It might just be, maybe they're just thinking, will Vexer go again in game two? Is he one of those people that will just run it down? Like, maybe not. Like, I think after the Wheelix, I think the next biggest issue was this Ratatoska, someone that was so easily able to get to the backline or someone trying to run away. That Global Ultimate was just too good. Same reason why I think they banned out the 4 last game, but instead of banning out this time, so might actually see a 4 pickup instead if it doesn't get banned out here. So I'm keen to see how. Yeah, I feel like we're not going to see the Wheelix again, but if we do, then I am praying for days.
Yeah. I feel like they could be also waiting to take it away in the second phase because with how many strong picks are still available, top 3 in a Wheelish would definitely show the Big C's hand. But you mentioned the Thor and it gets taken away.
Yeah.
Big C not wanting to deal with that, but it's left the Freya open that was banned away by them in game one, and that will be instantly snatched up by Dave's on the other side.
Yep, magical ADCs, although I wouldn't say it's a standout magical ADC meta at the moment, the rings have gotten better, and so it's a lot easier for Freya to be viable versus other hunter stats as a Hachiman, which is still on the table. Dave's took it last time, so I'm probably going to see it again here, I'd say. Instead, we're also going to see the Jormungandr first pick here, and it's what I was sort of thinking about early on in the set, is that magical solos are supposedly quite good right now, and Jormungandr offers a similar thing that the Ratatoska did, which was you can get to the backline pretty easily, or it's a very good escape. They also pick up the X-File again, which was doing very good into these clustered team fights that were happening in the early game. I think that served them very well. The ultimate also just... The ultimate of X-File is a weird one. I personally like it because it does introduce that element of what on earth is going on right now. It is also Kama picked up here, which could be Kama solo, could be Kama jungle. I don't really know. I'm happy either way.
Yeah, again, it's flexibility in the early part of the draft so strong when you're in this picks and bans phase, and they'll lock that in for themselves, just trying to figure out what they want to pick up to round out their top 3, pair up with this Camazotz and the Freya. They still need, definitely a support and definitely a mid lane pick. because Camazotz could go in a couple places, but I doubt we'll see him anywhere besides solo or jungle.
Hmm.
And they're taking their time. I mean, you have the bank time, you might as well use it.
Indeed, and it's just that it's still like, are they setting up for potentially having to deal with the Wheelix again? I think that is clearly still on their mind, and a Chiron pick right now, which I personally like. Ability hunters are slowly becoming a bit better now, especially with Cluster getting online. So I'm keen to see how Chiron does perform, especially because this is going to be, I assume, a Chiron mid. We've yet to see what mid opponent they would have versus Big C, but I think when it comes to the late game, Masterful Shot will do a lot of good damage in these team fights, so I'm keen to see how that plays out. Susano as well is just a good jungler early on. I think it goes well into the fray. It forces them to ult in a potentially not a very good position, and Chiron is probably going to get dealt with quite easily versus a Susano.
Yeah, definitely. And we saw Susano banned out against them in game 1. It definitely must be a pick that Big C enjoy playing around. Hopping into the second phase of bans here, the Ares is instantly taken off the board by Big C, not wanting that to be paired up with the Freya over there in the long lane, which would just be so much damage. So I like that one getting taken away. And the Toth is banned as well on the other side by Dave's.
Yeah, Ares is a top. He got some buffs. He does quite a fair bit more damage now. So I very much agree with this Ares ban. Ymir ban as well. Tough, I think once again they fear the artillery mage was just left to do so much, and I don't think Big C. I don't think Daves can get so easily into that Tough again. So they are just gonna ban him out to make sure it doesn't happen. Terror picked up this time for Big C. Still very top tier support, offers good healing and protections. And yeah, I'm agreeing with these bans right now.
Yeah, definitely good, smart decisions on both sides here. The Fafnir hover is really interesting to me on the side of Dave's. They are, at the moment I was going to talk about it, they decided to hover the Robin instead. They'll bait me a little bit, but they will hover the Fafnir again. I feel like when you have double ADCs with this Chiron and this Freya, locking in a Fafnir for yourself, and you're just never going to go wrong with that.
Yeah, Fafnir, I think this feels nice. And Hunbats, the classic alt bot himself. It's you're just come mid to late game, you're just blinking in, jumping in, putting down your ult, and seeing who you can pick off from it. So I do like that pick. I think they have a lot of good single target damage here with the Freya, the Chiron, and the Camas. Well, with their entire team. So I think picking someone off and locking them down is going to be quite important for the Daves. Meanwhile, Habois picked up for the final pick of this picks and bans, looking to be their mid Habois. I like it. I don't prefer it. I don't prefer it over the Habois jungle. Into the Chiron, it's a weird matchup. I got to be honest. Like Chiron can not immune out the damage from the crushing wave, but can have a bit more retaliation if it would be if it would just be a collapse with that crushing wave. I think both of these teams are late game drafts. I don't. There's probably going to be scrapping in the early game, but I don't. I think it's going to be similar to game 1, where it's only going to be 15 minutes in where we start to see a lead form up somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. Both teams have drafted here for the later stages of the game. My worry now, though, is that Dave's have a Freya, and I mean, Susano, Gibalanque, they both scale very well into the late game, as does Terra, but Freya is just absolutely terrifying once you reach, that 20-minute mark, that 30-minute mark. Who do you think on the side of Big C is going to need to be the one to deal with this pick? Is it just the jungler for Susano?
I do agree with you. Freya late game, I think, it's been a sleeper at the moment. I don't think people have realized that the Freya late game, if anything, has become a bit stronger right now. So I do agree they have to shut it down early. If anyone's gonna do it, I think if they wait, they have to deal with the Freya early. But if they wait until late, I think if they wait until late, it is too late for Big C.
Yeah, that's usually the case when the Freya is in the lobby. We're going to find out how this plays out by jumping into game 2 here between Daves and Big C. Daves are going to be doing everything they can to try and pull themselves back in this set and push us to a game 3 where their season might just be over here at the end of this game. Buffs about to spawn, giving us a chance to look at some of these builds. So far, we see the Bumba's Dagger starter locked in for Merc on this Freya, something that we've seen a little bit more often, kind of a resurgence on this Freya pick. Do you like this starter choice coming out of them?
I agree with it because trying to clear your camp, trying to clear the neutral camps early as Freya is an absolute ache. So it's very. You don't need a starter for clearing your wave as Freya, especially with a Fafnir joining you. It's just, but it's when you're leaving the lane where it gets a bit tricky. So I do agree with this, with the Bumble's pickup right here.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, look how fast that clear was. They're going to go invade this purple buff right now and get a decent amount of damage.
And
They do manage to take it, but can they find more damage on the back end? Good stun, and Albie gets poked out quite a bit as well. Still level 1 over there. Getting a hot start with a Freya in your lane, that is terrifying if you're Big C.
That is terrifying. A kill onto Archie Baker here would be big. A dash down onto him, and Rexa will get a pickup of their own. So, two terrifying things happening right now. Rexa getting some kills, and Freya having a glorious start in lane. Unless there's jungle interference, I don't think Big C are going to be able to come out from this lane over here. They might die, but I don't think they're going to be able to turn it around onto Days without Rexa coming over.
Yeah, it's definitely not the start that you'd want against a Freya in lane, but with how late game she is, they still have time to get those rotations over, as it's a Fafnir Freya holding them under the tower. But here in the mid lane, a little bit of fight breaking out around these Harpies. Lots of damage onto Mino Kino, who immunes some of it, but cannot live for the time being. And Archie Baker will at least turn around the kill mid for mid, falling here. And it doesn't look like either of the jungles will be able to get more than that. So it ends up being an even trade in the mid lane here, just under 2 minutes in.
Indeed, I think there's a good... Daves were trying to bait the fight there. We were leading them into a trap. They had a good start to it, but unfortunately they were too close together. And Herbois early game does not do a lot of damage because you have a lot of very short area abilities that don't do a lot of damage. But when you're grouped up like that into him, they're going to get their good value no matter what.
Yeah, it's just working out there, but ending up being an even trade. In the dual lane, it's still just so much pressure. There's not even a level lead or anything going the way of Dave's, but it just seems like Popular and Merc are able to kind of win out these little advantages and win out these trades and just able to out pressure anything. But in the solo lane, it's a blink in here from the Susano, gets the beads out of OG, who does manage to live thanks to that sustain that Camazos has in the kit.
A very good beads right there. If he was even a millisecond late onto that would have been a kill there onto OZ, so very good play there. Archie Baker is in. Seagull does not have any mana to really do a fight here, but meanwhile there's a bit of a skirmish going on right now.
That dual lane, very scrappy, not afraid at all of either team for taking these fights. And it did poke out Popular quite a bit, but they should be able to be just fine, as purple buffs are respawning and both teams just going to go to make sure that they get their own.
Indeed. Meanwhile, people are starting to hit level 5 across the board. Hunbat's ultimate is now at the ready. Fear No Evil, going to be a big determinant in these fights right here. Especially when it comes to the beacon. The first beacon fight, still 8.5 minutes away, but I want to see Dave's group up for the beacon. I want to see them try and get a good lead with an early team fight there. So that's what I'm waiting for. That's when I think the drafts should start coming online and showing into their own.
Yeah, we'll have to see how they want to play that one out, because I agree. I feel like they have shown that they can team fight well even if game 1 didn't go their way. So try to use some of this pressure that they've gotten to bring themselves an advantage, but a lot of damage on the Popular. But he's going to use the ultimate here just as a deterrent. Immediately Big C back up, not wanting to take that fight in the slightest.
Yeah, it is an interesting ultimate. I do agree. I think he uses the ultimate. he's not going to need the ultimate for like 5 minutes anyway. You're not really ulting him very early with Fafnir. So I think as a securing to his own life, I think it's a fine Fafnir ultimate. Freya is going to have to take the step back. Considering the early start they had, I don't think this lane has played out too well for them. I think they were probably hoping for Arts Baker to appear a bit earlier, but he is now here. The Fear No Evil has gone through Scares. Peters towards the Freya a bit more. Close right there, and Arts Baker gets the kill.
Peters falls there to the jungler. Good rotation from the Hunbats early, using that Fear No Evil that's just always going to be impacted.
Indeed, but meanwhile, a bit of a mid gap is closing, about 1.5 levels at the moment. The Herbois Foth is now, the Book of Foth is now stacking. The abilities are going to start chunking from this Herbois, and I feel like they're going to be chunking a lot heavier than Chiron is, especially until we see that Crusher. I assume we're going to be seeing the Crusher built anyways.
A little bit of a grouping over here in the solo lane forces the World Serpent out to make sure that Seagull can make it away safely, as the mid had even rotated over towards that blue buff to help try and defend it, as there's been constant pressure. OG is unable to pick up his buff though, even with that rotation. So good use of that ultimate coming out from the Big C squad to make sure that they continue to kind of get that experience lead over there.
Indeed it is. I am a bit weird. Pettis hasn't backed yet to get that Devour's Gauntlet online yet. If he doesn't get it soon, it's going to be quite a while until that is stacked, especially because Telkine's ring now finished on the Freya. Wave is going to be but a simple task for their ADC right now. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Support, meanwhile, has also developed a bit of a gap as well, 2 levels there as well, but they're going to be rotating now, so a bit of a maybe rough one here for Albie.
Yeah, Albie could be in a lot of trouble. He is getting chased into his own jungle. The Fafnir ultimate used to jump in, but they might need to turn back around because the damage from Hebo is quite a bit. The Fear No Evil comes out though, and they're still looking towards the support. Typhoon knocks up a few, and Archie Baker unable to live. Centaurus gonna try to save the life of Minokino, but it's not enough. A double kill for Vrexa there to make sure that that fight goes their direction.
Yeah, it was a good initiation by Dave's collapsing in on the support. It is unfortunately a support. They are not going to die easily. They go in, and I think they get a bit too out of position. Susana just goes in alone. Well, Susana just dives into the backline. But actually, maybe a bit of trouble here for Merc.
Good banish probably saves his life there, and he's confident enough on this pick to step back up into 2, and will be able to live for the time being. Just good support things happening in mid, making sure that wave is there for the mid laner as they return.
Indeed, about all first items now pretty much sorted. They're all stacking, so that's going to be quite vital here. It is going to be a bit of a tanky build for the Herbois going into what I assume is going to be a Breastplate of Valor as normal. I'm going to be interested to see if we see the Book of the Dead build here, where we're going to be seeing that old chestnut again. Hasn't been a thing since like season 8, I want to say. Yeah. But if it's back, I don't mind the Book of the Dead build. I think it works very well for the Herbois. So yeah, can you see where that follows through? Artsy Baker not going for tanky as you'd expect on the Hunbat. Sorry, not going tanky as you would expect someone to not go tanky on the Hunbats. Going for this full damage, hit someone with your ability, get the Hydra's proc, get your passive proc, and just try and do as much damage as you can in that short burst. Beacon still not up for 4 minutes. Looking, still, as I said, sitting in anticipation for that Beacon fight. I want it to be a big one.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. It is getting ever closer as both of these teams continue to try and farm up before the inevitable team fight phase of this game. Something I kind of want to mention here, production pointed out, it's a very damage orientated build coming out of OG on this Camazotz. Transcendence into a Soul Eater second item. Do you feel like you just want to see OG continue this damage train, or should he shift into some tankiness after these first 2 stacking items?
I think if he wants to go for damage on Camazotz, I think because of the healing the self-healing Camazotz has, I think it works out fine. You're just going to have to rely on hitting your 2 and healing up. Yeah, I don't think it's that big of an issue if he doesn't go tanky. It goes into more of the Dave's playstyle of they are wanting to kill someone in half a second. They want to lock someone down and kill him instantly, and the Camazot's going full damage, I think, plays well into that.
Yeah, if they have a full damage Camazotz, the full damage Hunbats, and a full damage Freya in the late game, not even mentioning the Chiron, could be a lot of trouble. But it could be even more trouble for Merc right now as a blink around the back. Susano is here. Typhoon is enough to get the kill there, and Merc falls for the first time on this Freya.
That's what you're going to need versus the Freya. The Freya had quite, to be fair, they had a very good start with the Purple Invade, but then it's been pretty much, X-Ball has turned out ahead here. They have the better KDA line, they're going to get the better farm here. It has sort of turned out for better, but it's still that thing of Freya is still even, and when it comes late game, even is still too good for Freya. I want to see them absolutely battering down this Freya soon. That was a very good gank by Rexer there. I just want to see it a couple more times.
Seagull has been living in this blue buff pit of OG and will steal away yet another blue from the Camazotz here. It's just been time and time again, but Peters could get caught out here, stuck between two. The banish is used. Valkyrie's discretion. The damage is so much, but it's not quite enough. They might not be able to get this kill, having to dive too deep because Terra is here as well. And the body blocks and the detransformation Popular takes so much damage. And look who's arrived as well. Blink in from the Hebo. Good knock up as well. Lots of damage coming through, but Popular's living for quite a long time. A banish will slow things down, but it's not enough. And Popular will end up falling after a rotation in from the mid laner and the support to make sure that Peters lived there.
He has Blink? I was not expecting that. Like, yes, Habois Zongi, you get the Blink. Blink as a Habois mid, like, sort of it works out very well there, but that's going to cost him late game, I say, if he doesn't have the Aegis. Oh! Yeah, another thing we haven't said is, it's clear it's not the Awilix, it's Rexer. 6-0 at the moment.
Jeez.
This is Rexer going big once again right now. Please don't die to camps. Okay, phew. Okay, he lives, phew.
Yeah, it definitely would not have been felt great to get shut down by PvE elements when you're 6-0 on a Susano. And the beacon that you had talked about, the one that we were looking forward to, it is here now.
Where are you?
But yeah, no one nearby. They lost out on that fight too heavily over there in dual lane, couldn't get grouped up, and it looks like first beacon gonna go the way of Big C. It's really only Popular who's here to try and stall this out. He is slowing it down. There's people showing up. This could turn into a fight, as we do see Archie Baker here on the Hunbats. Does not have the Fear No Evil quite yet, but the Dragon form is available. Earthen Fury comes out immediately to counter it, and there is nothing Daves can do. Too slow on the rotation. First beacon goes the way of Big C. Typhoon is enough. 7-0 for Rixa on the Susano.
7-0. Yeah, the mental battle going on for Daves right now has to be. Oh no.
The Freya with the damage. Just a couple more autos. Good jukes though. Valkyrie's discretion is enough, even through the darkness. Freya's light is enough to get a kill for Merc there.
Okay, so that I'll talk about the mental battle. That pick there from that 1v1 does help, but I think Daves are just contemplating it now that they have to shut down Rexer. They know if they don't kill Rexer in the next 5 minutes, that this is going to be a 2-0 for them. The pattern will ensue, but not the way they want it to.
Yeah, I feel like I agree. The jungle needs to be the priority in this. Anytime they're team fighting for Daves here, because it's just been Rexer looking so good over and over. Ooh. Good blue buff steal though, coming out of OG though. Taste of your own medicine, he says, by finally invading one of his own. Hasn't had a blue buff in quite some time. Just need to make it out of here though. It should be safe enough on the Camazotz to do that, as a little bit of a scuffle takes place near the Pyromancer as well.
Indeed, a bit of a skirmish now going in. Rexer has the blink up. I don't think they're going to dive tier 1 tower here, but looking for a little pick here might be big. Okay, a bit of a nearly a bit of a greedy play, but he's not actually going to go in there. I respect that. Actually, no, wait, hang on a sec. Actually, no, he won't. He won't go in for the back. Okay, then that's good control right there. In quite a few games I've cast in the past, a 7-0 jungler would have gone in there 1v2. So I really respect the self-control Vexer has right there to not just go in following up on his ultimate. And
Yeah, and this
Verxer.
is
I'm
how I
learning
know.
now Verxer. Apologies, chat. Verxer. If that's how it's pronounced, I'll stick to Verxer.
Oh, good to know. This is why I know I'm not an upper division caliber player, because I definitely would have gone in there at 7-0 to try and to fight around that red buff. But Verxa definitely much better and much more controlled, and it should allow them to just continue to kind of run away with this game as they have finished out that serrated. But around this beacon, a little fight might be erupting as both mid laners do a bit of damage to each other. And guess who's here? Verxa's on the way to try and turn this fight around in their favor, but it doesn't look like any picks are going to come quite yet. Transformation coming out of popular. Daves want to take this fight, but doesn't look like they'll be able to get too much off of anything.
Yeah, a bit of a late ultimate transformation there by the Fafnir. Some close. I have a sneeze halfway through my nose and it's just not going, so sorry to talk now. Freya is going in here, might be able to hit the banister, whoop onto it, but a good beads, goes for the ultimate to blind. But there's two people on the way from Days. But actually, it might be a collapse instead, depends if Verxa wants to go in.
Yeah, looking like this is just a lot of grouping that looks like it is, teetering on the edge of an explosion here in a fight. Nothing quite coming of it yet. The Fury is up and available here 16 minutes in. It could be what these teams are positioning for at the moment, as Popular takes quite a bit of poke damage and Verxa does even more onto Archie Baker. Daves need to back out of this fight and they will do so. And the green buff gonna go the way of Big C. Do you feel like they should be trying to pull this Gold Fury right now instead of just maybe having stare-offs in the jungle?
I think they just. No, I think it's okay. It's not a clear cookie cutter if they were to go to the Fury right now. Like they could face so very well still be people set up for that. So I think. Oh.
The damage coming out of this Susano right now, diving under the tower, gets the pick on Domino Kino, and Raiden is able to make the back there on the Hebo. So another kill going the way of this Big C squad, and another kill going into the pocket of the Susano.
Yeah. I mean, what the current plan that the Big C are doing is working out well for them. They're doing the damage now, starting up the pyro, which is good. It's a good early game objective to go for when you're not really sure whether taking the Fury is the right call yet. And yeah, it should just be a nice chill pickup for them right there. And yeah, meanwhile, a bit of an ADC ball going on right now that might be aided by Archie Baker.
Valkyrie's discretion used, and Archie Baker will get credit for that kill. What was a 1v1 was unfairly interrupted by Archie Baker there, and Peters will end up falling. Yeah. Beacon, though, might go the way of Big C over here in the mid lane, but there are grouping of Dave members nearby. They're stepping up here. They're not going to give this one for free. Actually going to switch the progression back towards their favor. There's a good knock-up coming out there. But there's just too many members of Dave's around right now. A crushing wave does so much damage. Beads are forced though with the banish because Freya has arrived and Merc will get the first kill of this engagement. Verxa though answers back immediately with a good use of the Typhoon there. But solo laners have rotated into this fight as well. And now Seagull's diving underneath the tower to try and find even more in the way of Big C. He has the World Serpent ultimate and he's going to look to try and find the kill onto Merc. And a couple good knockups there, and Seagull will get credit for the kill onto the Freya. And that might just be what Big C were looking for here. They are stepping back towards the beacon now. Has not yet been captured. It's really just OG, the only one nearby to try and turn this back in their favor. Beacon getting charged up, but it doesn't look like Daves can really step up to this one. So the second beacon of the game does, in fact, go to Big C.
Solos have been even pretty much this entire game at the moment, and it naturally is once their teammates rotate over that it swings in their favor. OG is the first one to get there, therefore the fight goes in their favour. But then Jormungandr comes in, uses the ultimate, hassles the backline, does what he does best with the World Serpents, and yeah, is able to turn it back around for the Big C. It is pretty much even. I didn't actually see who got the beacon in the end. I assume it was the Big C getting it in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and so yeah, a bit of an XP and gold lead is forming, not out of hand yet. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna assume most of the gold is just in Verx's pockets right now. So I think team wide, if you're looking at it from that perspective, isn't actually going to be. Actually, no, yeah, they're all pretty much balanced in their gold, so it is pretty much from a team wide perspective. They're all just doing good at the moment. They're all just pretty much close to on par. I mean, Archie Baker has been farming like a mad lad for being nearly on level with a 9-0-1 Sano. So he's been taking lessons from game one, realizes he has to have gone farm. Oh, up the up.
So much potential coming out of that banish there. Gets the beads and the Aegis out of Peters, who will be so much less safe. But the Jormungandr is rotated over, wanting to help out against Merc once again, diving under the tier 1 tower, doing a lot of damage to this Freya, but taking a lot in return. Goes up into the World Serpent and is answered by Valkyrie's Discretion, which will save the life of the Freya over in the dual lane. But that was quite a rotation from Jormungandr to make it to the long lane.
A very good Aegis thereby Peters was able to ignore so much damage. A good follow-up attempt by Seagull trying to get a bit of a kill on there, but unfortunately more people were rotating over, so it was probably just going to be a bit too risky if they were to dive on that tier 1. I think 21 minutes into the game, the tier 1 wouldn't have stood for long if we prioritized it, but it's one of those things where it's like, once again, Prophetic Cloak has not fully stacked yet. So yeah, he did also beat the Whoop. Yeah, it was a good relics by the Expo Evil, but once again, a good big Fin of Evil.
A lot of damage coming out of that, but the Earthen Furies use Crushing Wave, just barely not enough to get the kill onto Archie Baker, who has the mobility to get away. There was a lot of big impactful ultimates used, and Seagull elsewhere will get the kill onto Merc, assumingly with the help of Verxa, who's around the back of this fight, and the Big C are charging forward. Members of Dave's needing to retreat underneath their tier 2 tower, and once again Seagull just commanding so much space with the use of his ultimate, allowing his squad to step back towards this Fury, the first one of the game, still up at the moment. Verxa's in a 1v1 with the Hunbats and is taking a bit of poke, and there are more members of the Big C around, but once again Typhoon is perfect and saves his life. Masterful shot, not going to be enough to get the kill. Big C will pick up the Gold Fury, and Yorm is still charging forward, gets the Aegis, but a good stun should save the life of Minokino.
Jormungandr is doing his job perfectly right now. Seagull did it on the Vatatos in game 1. They all just going into the backline and doing the swaps. And I really like the target allocation here by Big C. They know the Freya is the problem, level 18. They know there's a lot of damage, so just deal with that Freya first. Just buy time with the rest of the main team fight, and just send over the Jormungandr, send over the Susano, and just deal with this Freya early on, and then it's a sore win for your team fight.
Merc has opted to go for all 4 rings on this Freya. Is that what you expected to see coming out of this pick?
Yeah, I think rings are in a good spot at the moment. It's at the point where they're balanced with most hunters. I don't think it's good. Like, I think it works out well, but all their passives and stats are just good, especially for Freya.
Whoa, look at the damage onto Popular here, hit by the Horrific and slowed into oblivion. Will end up falling to the hands of Peters. Big C still just charging forward. It's relentless aggression from this team. They'll look to invade the red buff, unable to do so, but they're just buying space as they do the Pyromancer at the same time. There's no one from Dave's
big fan of evil
up here. Raiden will get the kill, but OG does get the shutdown kill, and Merc gets another kill as well. Daves are turning this back around in their favor bit by bit, but World Serpent is used. Will just back away with it for the time being, as Daves You turn around quite a bit in that fight, and they're looking to get even more. Merc is swinging right now, and will get the kill onto the support, but Peters will at least answer back again with the kill onto OG.
Yep, in that team fight, the Freya was left alive, so the Freya went on sunken. That's all that can be said. There's still a lot of massive shutdown onto the Susano. Once again, I think Susano was a bit too risky going in there. I talked about his good self-control earlier. I think it may have dipped there in that moment. I think he went for the red buff, wasn't able to steal it. I think he just backed out the wrong way. He sort of just walked back towards Pyro instead of walking around trying to look to extend the skirmish. So I think a tiny bit of a misplay there for a 9-1 Susano. But I think overall, it's still a good equal team fight. Like, it sort of plays out well for the Daves, but it's still very much Big C ahead, still very much looking good for that team.
Quick pause here, as it looks like one of the players had some connection issues to the lobby. And you know, I gotta ask you, if you're Big C here, you know, you definitely have been in the lead of this game as we hop back in. Pause. Now done. But 24 minutes happens, and all of a sudden, the Freya kind of frags through a team fight. Are you nervous that the lead you've built up isn't going to mean too much because of Merc in particular?
Well, the Big C have already shown in the team fight before last that if they can just shut down this Freya early on. And so I think a big thing is going to be positioning is, can they shut down this Freya? It's going to be, if they kill the Freya in the first 5 seconds of a team fight, they win. If they don't, they lose. It's a simple checkbox for them at the moment, and it's just whether or not they can tick it.
They definitely should have that game plan in mind. And now, almost 26 minutes into this game, Fire Giant definitely on the minds of both of these teams as the Titans are marching down the mid lane. We're seeing more of a grouping around towards the right side of the map, but it seems like they want to take this fight in mid instead. They want to be able to push with their Titans if at all possible. Lots of damage going both ways, but it seems like all the pressure is getting looked at on the Titans for the time being. Big C's Titan will fall first, but it doesn't look like they're going to have any trouble as not even a tier 1 tower is going to fall in the mid lane.
But it's one of those things where if you have a really good team fight with a Titan push, you can get a Phoenix off of it. So I think both teams have respected the fact of, right, let's just go here to deal with the Titans. Should they be staying in this mid lane? I think so, because they'd either be just skirmishing around here or skirmishing around Fire Giants. And it looks like Big C think they can dive on this tier 1 tower, and they should. The X-Ball will kill this tower in like 4 autos. So I think they can look for a dive here. Verx is still looking to get some farm on there. Get his build finished, it should go very well for him. Going round to the backline, but has stepped on a ward. So they know they're there. Tower goes down like nothing. But it is going to be a whoop and an ultimate that goes through.
Gets one, Merc gets an immediate answer back, but there's so much damage going through. World Serpent and the dive from Verxa will be enough to find the Freya there. OG, though, gets 1 kill in return, has to use the Bat Out of Hell to get out because he has a sliver of HP remaining, as does Popular on this Fafnir, both needing to retreat, which means this tier 2 tower as well. An easy pickup for the Big C there. They did lose their mid laner and their support, but they get impactful kills onto both Merc and Minokino, plus both structures there in the mid lane are going to look to take this fight, or this Oni Fury, but Verxa's in a lot of trouble, nowhere to go, and OG, full damage solo laner, will get that kill, and this Primal Fury no longer free for Big C. They need to back up and be careful, and it could actually be Daves who look to pick up this objective.
Yeah, Verxa staying there for a bit too long, let's be honest. I think he got caught out a bit on his own mistake there. And yeah, what was going to be an easy, well, maybe not an easy field for Big C, becomes an easy field for Daves. And to be fair, I think overall, that entire team fight kind of benefits the Daves there. Saw you lose out your tier 1 and tier 2 tower, your Phoenix is exposed. But 28 minutes into the game, a Phoenix being exposed isn't actually that big of a deal. Whereas on the other hand, they get 3 for 3 kills and a Fury. So I think it's a small benefit, but I would say that entire exchange benefits for Dave's rights there, especially since they are the ones that are behind at the moment.
Yeah, definitely gonna work out in their favor to pull themselves back into this game. It's only around a 4,000 gold lead now for Big C, and almost 30 minutes into the game, gold starts mattering less and less, as well as experience as players hit level 20 and start to round out their builds. Fire Giant definitely gonna be the next kind of focus point for these two teams. Do you feel like either team has a draft that has an advantage around this Fire Giant pit?
Naturally, I think Dave's are better at going in to steal it last minute. They can blink in with a Hunbat's ult, Kaiwan ult over the wall. I think they are better dealt with going in last minute to try and 50-50 steal it. That being said, a good knockup like that is a good way to start a fight, but it might be the other way around.
There's so much damage on going both ways. OG will get one, Archie gets another, but Verxa, it turns around the kill onto his jungle opponent. Verxa with a double kill. Watch out for this Susano, but he's actually dropped by OG, who gets a double kill of his own. Camazon is popping off right now. A triple kill for OG, and that just completely turns things on its head. No way that Daves can pull the Fire Giant with the low health bars they have, but they get 4. It's just Albie left standing on the side of Big C.
It's a 4 for 3, and unfortunately the checkbox was not ticked. The Freya stayed alive, stood back, and was just pumping those autos into that sort of clustered team fight right there. Once again, Habra had a good start of that team fight, but Kaiwan, I think, can just pump out a lot of damage to contend with. Actually, no, looking at the play damage overall, I think the Habra is leading quite heavily at the moment, but I think the Habra died quite quick there in that team fight. I think a bit more quicker than I was expecting. It is going to be Dave starting up the Fire Giants. They might be able to get it, but it could be a risky call.
They have so much damage. Bumba's spear from Merc, as well as all that life stain. Never a world where Merc is not going to just continue to look at that. And it had just ticked over to its enhanced version as well. So EFG around the waist of all 5 members of Dave's, and now Big C are on the back foot for the first time, possibly in this whole set. They've kind of either been at even or ahead so far. How do you fare their siege defense against what Dave's are going to be bringing?
They don't have great wave clear. Like, Habra has to get up close. X-Ball, the autos are probably going to be their main clear. Lurkson might get caught out here. A good hammer sends through by the Fafnir.
He has the Typhoon.
Get out.
Does make it out. Horrific was used, but not able to catch Susano there. So that's at least one tool down for Big C to not have to worry about on this defense. It looks like they want to take this fight, though.
Yeah. Beads being down for Verxa is a big difference. If that one hard CC lands on that Susano, then Habra should be able to delete that jungler. So I think it's now a lot more riskier for Big C here. Losing on the Horrific is not as big deal as losing out on this Beads right here. I would like to see them push for Phoenix. Habra looking at something here, but I don't know. He might need glasses if he thought that was going to be anything bigger.
Yeah, risky positioning there to try and get something, and loses out on the beats at the same time. Oni Fury will go the way of Dave's to help with this siege, to have those Oni minions. Big C, they seem like they want to defend these towers against a team with EFG. That's a risky play, especially since it's just a tier 1.
I think they realise they will fight a lot better in the jungle and larger lanes than they will up against the Phoenix. And it's also the fact of this is EFG. If they stop any seeds here, that is very good for them. They are now behind, but they are Dave's is sprinting down onto Big C right now. They're big fear, no evil.
They are coming through here. The Typhoon does knock off a few, and Raiden will get one. Peters gets one as well, but it's a double kill for the Camazons once again. A double kill answered immediately back, though, by the Habra. Big C are winning this fight, considering they are against a team with EFG. Good knockup, but Archie Baker will get the kill regardless. Seagull, though, immediately answers back. And out of nowhere, it's just Popular left for Dave's. He's the only one with that EFG buff remaining, and Seagull and Raiden, they're still very healthy.
These fights have been hard to break down because every time 5 members have died in the first half a second. Like, it is hard for me to look at everything as what's happening. Susano sends out an ult there, doesn't do a lot of damage, but I think Morso does a lot with the knock-up. And it is going to be a Phoenix burst. I don't think they get Titan here. I don't think that's a possibility. Arden shouldn't die here to a Fafnir.
Either.
If he
need
dies
to get this damage on.
Okay, no, they do get it. They get the Phoenix, which is very good. Crossing Web does a lot more damage here.
He's in trouble though. There's so much damage coming out, and it is enough. Popular will at least turn that kill back around, trading out the mid Phoenix for the mid laner. Our Big C there in the mid lane.
To be fair, it still benefits Big C because that's the first Phoenix down 34.5 minutes into the game. That tells me we're probably in for a long haul with this one, so get your popcorn ready. But yeah, they went for the right play. It was only a support up. You go for the Phoenix. Unfortunately, the Fafnir does quite a fair bit of damage, especially with the Abysmal online as well. The negative cooldown aura on that item is going to hurt the Herbois a lot right there. So yeah, and is this going to be towers being cleared on the right lane for Dave's? FG up in 46 seconds. Everyone's going to be up. It's going to be interesting to see whether we're going to be getting a repeat of the first FG fight, where it's interesting. I think both of these teams want the team fight. I don't think anyone's going to try and steal it or do it quickly. I think they just want to win the team fight.
I love the builds coming out from Dave's, from OG, Archie, and Minokino, because they're so similar. I mean, Crusher Bot in the same slot for every single one.
There's a lot of it
for all of them, and they look like they're just kind of copying each other's builds across the board. But it's working for them in these team fights. And I mean, if the items are good, you might as well pick 3 gods that they're good on, right?
No, Fafnir, be careful. Nah, he's got a good leak. He'll get out there fine. Mr. Stun, all good. But yeah, it's a lot of red items. Which, to be fair, who would guess anything else? Right there. Dave's playing a bit risky. They are stepping up quite far into the Big C's front line. They're looking to maybe try to create a bit more of a sparse space for them.
They are looking for something, trying to kick things off around this fight. Both teams very aware that EFG is up and available again. Fire minions, though, are pushing down the mid lane towards Dave's base, so that's something they're going to have to make sure they're aware of. Do you feel like Big C should be the ones initiating? They might just not even give you a chance to answer. They do so much damage to Popular, but a good Fear No Evil gets the beads out of the mid laner, and so much damage onto Peters there, who has to back up, and OG, excuse me, will get the kill onto 1. Looking for more though in the mid lane. Murph does fall, but Archie Baker does get another kill as well onto Peters. Back and forth fight so far as the Yorm chases out Archie Baker, getting that kill as well. Good Aegis will buy some time for Minokino, but he is so low in the backline. Popular sacrificing himself possibly to save his mid laner's life. Does look like he will end up falling trapped between 3, but his carries do manage to get the backs off. Ends up with a 2 for 3 favoring out the Big C.
Yeah, what looked like a good fight for... Well, sorry. Dave's... The full damage Cambazots is working out. He just went onto that Herbois and just chopped him down bit by bit with his abilities, shut him down early. Freya was left alone because everyone else went to go help the Herbois. Jormungandr went in, they were able to deal with that Freya early, and once that Freya was dealt with, that's a sort of signed deal for Big C. They do well in that fight now that Freya is gone. Jormungandr is not going to be dealt with as quickly by the Chiron and Camazots. Their only main threat is that Freya.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it earlier, very binary for what the Big C need to do. Did you kill the Freya? Great, things are going your way. Did you not? Unfortunate, not going to go your way, but it didn't go either team's way enough for them to pull the Fire Giant.
No.
And in 5 seconds, Popular's back respawned on this map, and we're just going to do this dance once again.
Yep, indeed we are. So get your popcorn, get your drinks, lads. Let's let's get ourselves ready for the big one. And it's just that thing again of I don't think anyone could shred this Fire Giant down quickly. They are looking for a fight. But this might be the start of the fight they want. No, because I don't think any of the Big C were aware that setup was going to happen, so they weren't able to follow up onto it.
Yeah, just the dance continuing though, but the frenzy's popped, and this could be the go button. Look at the health bar, excuse me, of the mid laner there. Does end up falling to OG once again, but Verxa does turn around 1 kill at least. Beads used by OG, who gets himself yet another double kill in this game. The Kamazatsu is for sure working. Merc goes up into the sky to do a little bit more damage. That fight going Dave's way, 1 for 2 in their favor. And they're still jumping forward. They might look a little bit more, but Popular might be in a lot of trouble. Lives with a sliver of HP thanks to reinforcements from his team. And this could be the window that Daves were looking for to pull this Fire Giant.
Yeah, I mean, there was a big Chiron ult there. Absolutely shreds down the Habar's ultimate. Masterful Assault brings him down very low. Kamazot's ultimate will seal the deal on that one. Verxa does go in, gets another kill for them, but then from there on out, the team fight started. It's been 10 seconds. All the Freya's still alive. That doesn't look good for Big C, and it's just that thing of they get walked down upon. Pyromancer is done, and it's that thing of I don't think this is as easy enough to see. They can start it, but if Big C step up, like their ultimates are nearly up, I think it's not as clear as a case to pick up this EFG right now. It's going to be a bit of a risky call.
Well, it's a call they are risking to make right now. They will pull this Fire Giant and start it up, but they will immediately leash it and favoring out the fight instead. OG forces out the World Serpent from his opposing solo laner, and Seagull decides to use that to get back to his squad. Fire Giant safe for the time being, as neither team, as you've been mentioning, comfortable enough to really pull it quite yet. Beats though forced out on the
and he doesn't have an Aegis.
He does not, and Merc will end up getting that kill, but a good fear no evil forces out the Valkyrie's discretion, and Merc is very low on that Freya. We'll be able to back up for the time being. Kino gets a kill onto Seagull, but Verxa's around the side here. It looks like they do know he's around. We'll go the other way in the jungle. OG though, so aggressive, blinks in, gets the kill onto Peters, and now looking at the support, does get stunned out. Seems like these fights are going in Dave's favor time and time again now.
It's getting to the point where the Habar not having an Aegis is kind of costing him. Habar has to be up close, and Daves has a very good answer of just kill this Habar. He can't get out easily. He's not going to be able to blink out of a fight once it started. They just kill him early on. The mid is dealt with. Chiron gets a bit more free range because he doesn't have to worry about that. It just becomes a lot easier for the Daves, and so they have to. Big C have to protect this, but they get the steal.
He got it with the Typhoon, just walking up, throwing it out, and stealing away an EFG. That is huge coming out of Verxa there to just completely negate what could have been a game-ending push from the Big C. It only goes on around the waist of both, of himself and his support, but it most importantly does not go the way of the entirety of this Dave squad.
Right. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I mean, yeah, Daves were holding on to their bombs. They were probably just thinking, oh, we're going to need these for the Phoenix. And they are right. They need those bombs for the Phoenix. I think they thought they had an easy pickup, but Verxa, the mad lad that he is, that they just step up, send the ultimate through. A bit of a... I think he does walk over a ward there, or I think just misses the ward there. I think walks around the top of the lower one. And yeah, is just able to sneak it off. But it's only 2 of them with EFG. That's not a good Phoenix, but it does benefit them for this team fight. The ultimate from the Sasana will do a lot here. Good stun by the Fafnir. But it's just that thing of, I don't think this is a clear game ender.
Blink Fear No Evil comes in, and Kino has enough damage to get a pick onto Raiden, but World Serpent is charging forward again, and OG's health bar is so low. But Seagull does not want to go too deep, because look at the damage coming out of Merc so much. He's deleting the Jormungandr there, but Peters answer backs with a shutdown of his own. So a couple kills going both ways. Fire Giant still around the waist of both Verxa and Albi. of the support there. But eh, that was a fight that Dave's wanted to take, and they do lose two members, and it's Big C who are the ones charging forward. They have a couple bombs as well, and they will use it on the Phoenix there, which does end up falling, but Merc's up in the sky to try and get a bit more damage. Not going to be enough to find a kill though. Phoenix down for Dave's.
Okay, that's good for the Big C. They get the Mid Phoenix down. Has the Mid Phoenix already been down this game? It's been so long I can't fully remember
I
whether that was
believe
game.
so.
I think it was all this game already. So Dave's have shown that they can deal with this Mid Phoenix being down already. And yes, that's the thing of Kamazots was dealt very low. Verxa went round, blinked onto the backing Kamazots, caught him out, and finished up the kill. Freya was left alive, did do a lot of damage, but Pedders and the rest were able to retreat to the safety of the jungle, where it was not as clear as a follow up for the Freya to go in on. So good map positioning there by the Big C. And yeah, Phoenix down is big. EFG on them for about another minute, a bit longer, but I don't think we're going to see another big Phoenix push here. I think this is just them set. This is going to be another setup for the next EFG into this long 2-0 game. But no one wants to be sent home right now. Big C wants to get on through. Days wants to get on through. They want to fight down Goostra in the final losers round. And so yeah, a lot to play for here. All ultimates online, relics nearly up. Headers does not have his relics for another 30 seconds or so, and so they're probably going to not look to take a fight in that time. Meanwhile, maybe finish up some of these towers a bit more. Grouping on right suggests that.
Yeah, definitely, get your tap shoes ready, because I think we might have another fire giant dance on our hands. But as I say that, a little bit of fighting taking place here in the jungle of Dave's. World Serpent up again as the lights are turned out by Peters. The ultimate coming out from Hunbass as well, but Albly will get the first kill. It's 3 kills going the way of Big C here. OG does turn one back around, but it's him versus the world now. He tries to get the back off and will be able to do so. But there are 4 members left alive for Big C, and they're pushing towards the Titan room. They want to get this set win. OG has so much pressure right now to try and turn this back around. Bat out of hell will buy some time, but he has a sliver of HP remaining. Can he make it away? He can't. Seagull will get credit for that kill. Takes a bit of damage from the Phoenix, though. The Titan, though, getting absolutely melted, and that will probably just be it here. It is Big C take the set in 2-0 and secure themselves further along in this loser's bracket.
Yeah, that was a good attempt there by Davies. They fought till the better end in a long game too. But it was just that thing of Sisano. They send for a big ultimate onto 3 people. Jormungand disrupts a lot. Daves have to use a lot of ultimates and they escape from that jungle fight. And fortunately for them, the damage went through. They were able to get that kill. Herbois was not prioritized. Like, I couldn't get a good. I can't remember a lot of that fight because once again, all these fights happened so quickly that game. There were just so much damage very quickly. But I feel it's just that thing of the Herbois was not picked too soon. Instead, it was the Big C initiating the fight. And they were just able to do a proper follow up on top of it.
Yeah, very clean there at the end to make sure that the set goes 2-0 in their favor. And I feel like while it didn't end up working out for Dave's there, they had so many moments in that game where things worked out really well for them. OG
absolutely.
looks great on the Kamazots. Merc's damage was insane on the Freya as we got to late game. They definitely gave it their best against Big C.
Indeed, it was a 2-0 set, but the game 2 was a nail biter. It was very close for a lot of that game, a lot of back and forth, and a lot of close moments. So I think well fought by both teams, but it will be the Big C moving on to face against Goostra in the final losers round, and then the winner of that will go on to take part in the grand finals.
And I mean, I feel like if Verxa can continue to play like they did today, Big C has got to be looking good to progress, because, I mean, to me, they are just the MVP of this set. 16-5-7 on the Susano looked absolutely insane on the Wheelish the round before.
Yeah.
Just insane jungle play coming out of them.
I mean, I think everyone on the team of the Big C did absolutely well. Arden on the fourth game one, and then Habois game two. I think pumped absolutely crazy damage numbers. Pedders up against the Freya game two. That's never a nice thing to be up against, but did win quite well in that sort of trade up right there. Albi did very good. Seagull was excellent with just harassing the backline. I think it was just an overall a very good team effort right there by the Big C.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just great team play overall. And now we can take a look at the bracket here, as you can see, as we've been talking about Big C making it through to the next round, and will be going up against Gustra. And those two teams will be fighting for the chance to take on Pikachu Esports in that finals round to play for all of those gems. Definitely want to keep your eye on the GSL and watch the rest of these upper division games, because they should be good ones. But for today, that is going to do it for us here. Once again, I've been Dr. Shrew, joined by Matlock with Cabbage on production. We hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time here on the GSL.
Bye.